destroyed everyone in the top lane. I want to see that again from this guy here, because right now on Splyce, the biggest question is, who will be the main carry on this team? There's a lot of players who wants to be the one, but Kobbe and Nisqy right now, I feel like, have not reached the level yet where we can say this guy is the star carry on this team that can win EU LCS.
Well, let's see what they have done in the off-season and what level Nisqy and Kobbe will bring to the table, along with both Fnatic and Splyce. Evelyn Malzahar Kalista taken off the table by Fnatic. Turn your attention to Splyce, Zoe, and Shen.
So once again, GP's actually getting banned now, not being picked a single time today in the EU LCS, but sOAZ, of course, famous GP player back in the day. He used it to destroy Huni as well when he was on Origin. sOAZ, that is. And it was one of these picks that's always kind of followed him ever since the rework.
Yes, and so has Shen has also followed him.
Hey, sOAZ and Odoamne agreed on Twitter to play Dogchamp versus Dogchamp up in top lane. Not allowed to kill each other, not allowed to get any jungle help either. Need to see if both teams respect that. First, it's the picks for them. Ornn is available.
Well, there's no ways they're going to respect that rule. And there's the Ryze once again. Ryze into Azir.
We've seen it before.
It is Deficio's favorite matchup. He loves it on 8.1.
No big surprises so far in this pick and ban phase. All three super standard picks. Sejuani there. Jarvan is still available on the other side. That is typically the go-to choice then.
Yes.
And here we go. Broxah locks that bad boy in. You know what? Tahm Kench is still available if people want to play him as support. It is good against things like Ryze and Sejuani. Hylissang, Tahm Kench, played a lot in the past.
We'll see. It's going to get locked in sooner or later. I appreciate Caps trolling, locking in the Nasus, or hovering the Nasus rather.
Oh, that's one.
And it's going to be the pivot. So there's the Ornn, here's the Sej. Where do we go to next in terms of bans?
Well, first of all, we need this pick here from Splyce. Right now, we match mid lane, match jungle. Will they take the top lane choice for Odoamne, or will they grab either AD carry support and then ban away two champions from Fnatic here?
Do you have an option you prefer?
Not necessarily. I think picking top here is very safe, and that gives you a lot of flexibility in the next few bans. Odoamne will get that Gnar. We just had this matchup in the last game where, sadly for Prophet, who played the Gnar, he got shut down by two early roams from Schalke, and he never really got in the game. Can't happen for Odoamne.
I think I'm a little more excited about Odoamne's Gnar, and we'll see what he can do with it. We're going to find the answer to the ban phase 2 options. Kog'Maw taken away by Fnatic, targeting Kobbe. Camille taken away. That would have been a support Camille, I assume. It could be a support Ornn as well. I've seen that a few times this week already.
Exactly. Support Ornn is played, and Camille is a good choice against Gnar. Another one is Jace, but it's not really been something sOAZ has been showing us lately. If they're still thinking that this Ornn will go down to support as a flex choice, we'll see here with the last ban if they want to go for another top laner. No, it is that Tahm Kench we just talked about just before. Glad he's gone, finally.
So what's next?
I mean, Braum is still here.
Right, Ornn, top laner supports. Knowing Hylissang, knowing sOAZ, where do you think it will land?
I think they put it top right now. They either put Hylissang on Braum or a champion that can make some big plays. Alistar is available in this draft here.
He's been banned a whole bunch.
He's been banned a lot in Europe so far. Fnatic actually get rid of Braum on their side. Splyce right now have matched roles so far, if it is mid versus mid and top is top with the Ornn versus Gnar, which is what we're expecting. Will then need to show most likely AD carry and then last pick support if they want to go that way, or you grab an Alistar here for Kasing and you say, you know what, we're fine with whatever you can pick against it.
Let's see what Kasing and the rest of Splyce feel. Of course, Kobbe, the only returning Splyce boy from the 2017 season. He will lock in Tristana, gives Kasing the option to counterpick. And now Fnatic have to confirm for us where Ornn will be going.
Exactly, but also Ezreal is still available in this draft here. Such a contested pick everywhere else in the world. Rekkles can easily grab it for himself and take it down to that bot lane. Xayah and Rakan also available if you want to play that. And that would be something that fits Hylissang and Rekkles, because I expect this duo to be so aggressive in the way they're playing.
Man, Xayah and Rakan rounds out the composition for Fnatic. I really like what I'm seeing on the Fnatic squad. So much mobility and options to engage. Let's see whether or not Fnatic will revert to that crazy style we loved so much. Last pick for Splyce.
Yeah, and this is why Splyce wanted to save support to see if Xayah Rakan got locked in. And I want to see if they have anything specific prepared against the Rakan. It is just a Taric. Obviously does work fairly well against all-in comps. There's one issue though with Taric against Rakan, in my opinion, is that Rakan engage is so quick and Taric ulti is so slow before it actually procs and saves you. So there is a window just when Rakan engages, but Taric can't really defend himself or defend his teammates in some of the later fights, and that's where Fnatic can quickly burst down the first target they see. I
also hate watching Cosmic Radiance used defensively. It's, in my mind, it's so much more tricky. I love it when it's used forward and aggressive, and hopefully Xerxe and Odo can set up some opportunities for Kasing to throw that down. What do you think, Deficio?
Yeah, I definitely feel like on Splyce's side, in order to get to the Azir in the late game fights, we are looking a lot at Xerxe with the Sejuani, but Azir can run Cleanse, so that becomes a bit of an issue for the Sejuani. There is enough tools, I feel like, on Splyce's side to get to the back line, but they have to get there because Azir and Xayah will be so good at dealing with the front line of Splyce.
All right, what do you think about scaling? Both teams got some options.
There's a lot of scaling on both sides, but I feel like if you look on the Fnatic side here, especially with Xayah Rakan, that is a big lane to play around in the early game where you can be super aggressive, and if you win the bottom side, you unleash Hylissang to roam.
That's it, Hylissang, the upgraded member on the Fnatic squad. Let's see what he can do.
Let's see if it is an upgrade or not.
Just quoting my boy Deficio from the roster rundown. He's going to show up on stage, going up against a new old face in Kasing. Of course, Kasing running that support Taric. It's going to be a difficult lane with Tristana Taric.
Definitely true, but in general, looking at the drafts here again, so many standard picks, so few big surprises. Just Xayah Rakan is being favored a bit here in Europe, and Rekkles and Hylissang, one of the lanes we want to look at when it comes to early laning, because towards the end of last split, when Rekkles stepped away from AD carry Kennen, he just started destroying people in the laning phase, taking early turrets down. You can do that with this duo here. It is highly favored in Europe. I just want to see it now. I want to see the synergy between Rekkles and Hylissang. They went to Korea together, to boot camp before Christmas. They've had a lot of time to play together.
And we saw Rekkles walking around the Berlin scenery with a few choice quotes. The European throne is empty, he believes. The exact quote. Fnatic 5-time champions, but they haven't won a title in over 2 years.
And that's a lot in esports.
It is a very long time in esports. And talking about long times, Rekkles, the poster child for Fnatic, signed a 3-year deal. Heavily publicized, heavily talked about. Let's see whether or not he can lead this team to victory, of course.
And he's a bit of a bad boy now as well with those tattoos.
Ooh, I like it.
I'm
a fan of tattoos myself.
Hey.
Definitely approve of that.
I think they look pretty good as well, and I think it's smart to write your own name on your arm in case you do forget it. So
is that a problem that you have?
I have it sometimes, so I might need that tattoo down the arm just to remember how to spell it.
Let's see whether or not Rekkles does. And of course, over on the other side, for Splyce, it's a complete rebuild. You know, new coach, Kobbe, the only returning player, the Danish best friend squad.
May the rest in peace.
After going to Worlds in 2016 summer,
the Pilter boys
did not have a great 2017. That's the old roster, been replaced by the new and upgraded.
Yeah, of course, all these players are still in the LCS, just all spread around different teams, but the new roster here, we should be excited because Splyce, they went all in and said, you know what, we want to try and get a roster here where it's a clear upgrade. We are okay with trying to chase some big names and have to obviously compete against a lot of other teams in terms of, you know, salaries and these numbers. And they went for players like Odoamne, they got him. Xerxe, again, one of the junglers you're always hyping up in Europe. And Kobbe, they kept him. I think that was a solid choice because he's always kind of been hovering around that
reliable.
Top. Yeah, but he's always been near that top 3, if not in the top 3 of AD carries in Europe. So I think it was smart to keep him and see if you can make him even better.
And I mean, the question is, the tip of the spear, the people that we are looking at to carry Splyce is Odoamne and Xerxe. We'll see what they can do. There's some pressure here on the jungle. Of course, the roaring Romanian duo, side by side. When we were doing our prep and looking at the squad,
oh, Hylissang
just eats a dazzle to the face. But of course, it's these two that we feel should step up in the early stages of the split until we get to know the team more, until we see how they grow and develop. That could and should lead Splyce on the Rift.
We just have to see if there is already good synergy between them. And if Splyce wants to play around topside where Odoamne is, on this Gnar here, he does have the range advantage, but trading against an Ornn, it sucks, it's horrible. I played Garen against Ornn the other day, I couldn't even touch him. And no, it's not because Garen is a garbage champion, it was just because Ornn is a little bit overpowered in the early game. Gets a shield for himself, does a ton of damage in return, easy CC with that pillar he can then charge into. It is not fun to lane against him.
It is really not. sOAZ is shoving Odoamne in. Got himself a small CS advantage and will try to harass Odo as best as he can. Actually, no, backs away instantly. 1, 2, 3, 7 of those little stopwatches in the inventories this game. Definitely turning to be one of the favorite secondary master trees. And again, Unsealed Spellbook on sOAZ's Ornn up in the top lane.
I mean, at this point, Inspiration is in almost every single rune book we see, either as the main tree or as the secondary tree, because free stuff is amazing. And also, Spellbook is so fantastic. Reduce cooldown on your summoner spells, able to change them around. We have it on Nisqy in this game here. We have it, of course, on sOAZ up in top lane. Supports didn't go for it. No. Guardian on both sides. A bit more protection for the teammates.
And talking about protection versus offense, Hilly with Ignite versus the Exhaust for Kasing matches what he wants to do, right? Hilly wants to jump in there.
Now we also have to follow Broxah, because last split, Broxah loved to go top lane once in the early game. Level 3, level 4, gank once for sOAZ, get an early kill, and then just go bot lane for the rest of the game. He didn't want to go mid at all. He's top lane right now, but Odoamne is sitting under his turret. Will they just go for tower dive? sOAZ can tank it.
Where is Mega Gnar? That's the question. Starting to build up on the Odo side. He's going to get that Volcanic Rupture. Exhaust thrown down. That's the dash forward. That gets the flash. Odo sidesteps nearly everything. Hops forward. Boomerang gets the slow. The Rupture not going to pop. And Broxah with first blood.
Classic Fnatic. We just talked about it. Broxah will go top lane at least once in the early game. Get the first kill here for them. sOAZ actually did something very smart. He flashed forward to then charge into the wall here, because he knew Odoamne would just flash the original CC that sOAZ was trying to land.
And of course the exhaust in sOAZ's back pocket. I didn't see if he started the game with teleport or exhaust, but either way, there we go. Just swapping over to TP. Started that one pre-prepared, pre-planned, and flawlessly executed.
It's good to see that nothing's changed here for Fnatic over the off-season. Same gank from Broxah. Let's see if he turns his attention to bottom side now, because they can start playing more and more aggressive, especially when they get that level 6.
Oh, really nice buffer there from Kobbe. Manages to get out to safety with the rocket jump. And where is Broxah? So now clear out the jungle.
They can wait for level 6 bot lane if
level
they want
6,
to.
I mean, just dinged level 5. Got a small advantage, Fnatic duo, over the opposite numbers.
So, once again, Gnar in the laning phase, gets ganked, dies in mini Gnar. It's happened multiple games today in the EU LCS. Junglers are good at punishing it. Xerxe is farming for level 6 before he really wants to help Odoamne, so Odoamne was left on his own. sOAZ, he's aggressive.
Call of the Forge God is hopped away from. Uses that one on cooldown. It's not the longest of cooldown, so it doesn't hurt you too much. And Broxah will pick up his red buff. We'll keep track of where he moves to next. Sej, very close to getting level 6, and that means Xerxe can sort of unlock his ability to look for kills, because there's setup in every lane.
There really is, but there's cleanse mid from Caps, as we highlighted before, so it is a little bit harder to go for him. And I want to talk about the mid lane now, because Nisqy is the biggest question mark on the Splyce lineup. He qualified last year to the EU LCS with Fnatic Academy for the summer split, but then went straight over to North America and played instead. Got a handful of games under his belt, was really good in playoffs, where it was kind of his peak, you know, as a pro player. Still very young, and now picked up by Splyce. They see the potential in him, but he's struggling in this lane. This was a lane we just saw Nukeduck win on the side of Ryze and carried basically the game. Just went top lane, bot lane, shut down the Azir completely. Caps is 1v1 destroying Nisqy at the moment.
Caps plus 20 CS. Xerxe called in just to help, and of course because Nisqy is forced to run away, it means Broxah and Hilly are able to jump in and just steal away this blue buff.
And losing mid is such a huge problem in League of Legends, because if you don't have control mid lane, it gets really difficult to force plays on the side lanes. If your mid laner can't roam first, and you're going aggressive in the bot lane, well, the enemy mid lane is going to show up first, and then he's just going to turn the gank around and he's going to kill you. So you have to play super passive, or you need to help your mid laner, and that forced Xerxe to show himself mid, So he's not applying pressure anywhere else despite hitting level 6.
And that's why Fnatic have got this phenomenal vision set up in the bottom right quadrant of your screen. Now you talked about mid control, you talked about some question marks. As the vision highlighted that Caps unlocked. Let's talk about Caps a little bit. No longer a rookie. Played 19 games at Worlds last year and really sort of came into his own as the year went on. Phenomenal talent. The kid has definitely grown up.
You're not going to read the...
Since his performance last year.
Not going to read the line?
What? That Caps had summer 2017 stats? I know which landmines to avoid, my friend.
No longer Baby Faker. That one died. We're trying again with Teenage Faker. See if that one lands.
This was Deficio's idea. He put me up to it.
I thought it was funny.
He put me up to it. But the main thing is...
there was one person up there who landed.
The main thing is, he's not a rookie. And I want to see growth. When we were talking about this graphic and this player in particular, one of the things that we said is Caps has got that mechanics, he's got that individual ability, but now he needs to develop as a player on stage, with his mentality, with his knowledge, with his mindset. We kind of have to see the same growth arc that we saw from Perks.
Exactly.
And see the development in everything else.
It's rare you get some of these talents where you can just see that he's mechanically better than so many other players in LCS. We saw it immediately when he joined Fnatic. It was why he was so hyped up. But normally these young players, again, they need experience, they need time, they need to be in a lot of different situations and figure out, okay, how do we handle this? They also need to, like, mentally, when they're practicing, learn what it means to be a pro player. Yep. Because sometimes it can be pretty easy to just, you know, enjoy playing video games and relax, but there goes so much into being a pro and constantly improving with your team. And we look at Caps to improve there, or not improve, but to show he's good enough, and sOAZ is winning top.
Yeah, what's he doing, Deficio?
He destroyed Odoamne, and he wasn't allowed to do that.
All of the Forge God. And Caps unlocks mid, all that vision gets the first Infernal Drake. sOAZ just 1v1's Odo, didn't quite see the build-up, but Hylissang's going to dash away to safety. Let the feathers fly, will keep Rekkles alive. And Broxah is just waiting in the wings. Great defensive play, no summoners blown.
But man, sOAZ solo killing Odoamne. Yes, he got that first gank in his favor, but again, that is so huge for Fnatic. All Broxah had to do was be there once, and now he is bot lane with that level 6 Rakan, ready to try and win another lane. They're going all in.
Wow, there's that instantaneous engage. Root comes down into Kasing. He's knocked up, dunked down, locked in. Throws down the stopwatch for a few seconds, and Kasing escapes with his life. Ignite, the only summoner used by Fnatic.
Exactly. They can do this again once ult is ready for Hylissang. Same thing for Broxah here. Didn't have to use his flash either. Just staying in the bottom lane. Sadly for them, Splyce will be recalling.
Got to back away. Plus 20 CS for Rekkles. Plus 20 CS for Caps. It is nearly plus 30 actually for Caps. It's a 1,500 gold lead. I said I could do math, and here I am messing it all up. But Fnatic, they're just outclassing Splyce right now.
Top lane, mid lane, for sure. Bot lane has been fairly even. The Rakan, it is somewhat expected they do well early on, but sOAZ lands the ulti onto Odoamne. The minion is already low.
Man, hit everything.
I mean, it's kind of, again, hard to analyze that kind of replay because he literally just hit every single skill shot onto the Gnar and killed him.
I mean, it's not hard to analyze because sOAZ is a man that is heavily criticized. He's an old player. He's been around forever. And he said he's going to play for forever. And as long as he keeps doing stuff like that, he's going to be able to play.
I mean, it's really good for Fnatic. They have what I now actually consider a more consistent sOAZ compared to how he maybe was a few years ago, where it was very up and down. I think last split, he had a lot of great games. He was almost never a liability for this team.
Yep.
Even when teams tried to shut him down, he actually managed to draw in a lot of pressure and not just die 500 times, as we have seen a few years ago. So I think sOAZ has actually gotten better. Now that he's even older and has been playing for so long, it's great to see how he kind of refound his motivation and did really well last year and good start this year.
Yeah, definitely one of the more outspoken players off the Rift. Not afraid to share his feelings, and we'll see how well sOAZ can play this split. Caps has got the Emperor's Divide available. There's the cleanse that Deficio's talk about. Emperor's Divide locks down Xerxe. He's forced to flash. Sand Soldiers come out. Broxah flash forward. Gets the knock up on Xerxe. Teleport's being channeled over in the wings. Caps picks up the kill. Now Odo's the target. He's able to sidestep the knock up, and Hilly unable to lock down the CC. Fnatic find their third, and now they're setting up for the tower.
Oh, they want some more here. Big ulti from sOAZ.
Oh, Nisqy's going to pull the Deficio escape. He manages to make
How's that my escape?
He's alive. As Fnatic take down the first tower of the game. It's a 3,000 gold lead, but Kobbe and Kasing want to reply.
And that entire play was set up due to Caps winning this mid lane so hard. He just felt so confident walking into that enemy blue buff, trying to steal it. Knew he had the cleanse ready, and Broxah was behind him. So immediately as the engage happened from Splyce, well, Fnatic reacted. Bot lane moved in, TP came in, Broxah was already there, and Splyce lose another kill.
This was the setup. Really good play from Caps, so the cleanse and then the ulti.
Oh, but he knows, like, that even in a 2v2 situation, there's no way he loses. Nisqy at this point is very weak, so he's confident he just takes the fight. TP matched by sOAZ. Hylissang already left the bot lane before this play even started, and Fnatic just collapsed instantly. Splyce under a lot of pressure, have lost both solo lanes, got a lot of damage on the bot lane tower, but they're still playing against Xayah Rakan, so they're not winning bot lane either.
No, they're not. And Broxah is waiting just to the left of our screen. Caps has moved into the jungle to set up. I wonder if they can sniff anything. Just the blue buff steal. So Kobbe and Kasing trying to defend their towers.
But this kind of thing Amazing talked about on the analyst desk, how with this Splyce lineup, when you have so many new members being put together, it is hard to expect them to just show up day one, week one, and be able to match a team that won almost every single game in the regular season last split and only replaced one player. Fnatic will, of course, have the advantage in terms of synergy, in terms of coordination.
Yeah.
And as we're also seeing in this game, at least in some of the lanes, they also have the individual advantage.
Well, sOAZ is looking for another one. Forge God is called, manages to find his target, lands everything, and sOAZ isn't going to chase further. But I want to zero in on one particular player on the Splyce roster. It is their support, Kasing, who's now going to be getting a lot of assistance from the rest of the Splyce guys. Look in the jungle. Here's the Realm Warp from Nisqy. This will become a 4-on-2 as the tower will fall. Xerxe not going to look for the ulti.
I really like this play here. Caps went top lane, a bit greedy, hoping he could get a free kill onto Odoamne. So it actually allowed Nisqy to leave that mid lane and go bot and apply some pressure with his team. They get that bot lane tower. Very important they find some gold on the map. So I like this play here. I don't think Caps had to leave mid and go top at all. Could have stayed to try and match Splyce.
That's a promising sign for Splyce to perform the cross map, see the opportunity and take it with no hesitation. It evens out the tower game, but they're still behind in gold.
Take what you can get at this point if you are Splyce when you are down and under pressure.
Do they lose bottom tower though?
I mean, eventually Rekkles will be able to just take it down because Fnatic can keep pushing the bottom lane. Hylissang is even jumping over.
Very aggressive. Hilly's got the ability to dash out, does so. Gets out of range of the stun, but just, again, it's forward, it's in your face. That's actually what we expected from Hilly.
And right now, Odoamne's TP is still on cooldown. sOAZ TP is ready in just a few seconds. The spellbook even giving him less cooldown on it, meaning that right now, Fnatic on bottom side can be 5 members very quickly. Splyce cannot, applying even more pressure on Splyce bottom side. Drake is being started, Splyce cannot contest it, have to give it up, and then the next objective can be this bot lane tower here for Fnatic.
See if they invest resources now or commit to it a little later. The answer will be later. And
I mean, they can also go top and get that really low turret. They kind of have a lot of easy gold to pick up.
sOAZ is going to be happy to keep laning, just look for more solo kill opportunities. And Xerxe, unfortunately, has been a non-factor this game. The opportunities have either not been created or not been presented. And unfortunately, he's going to need to find a great ulti somewhere to try to turn the tides of one of these fights. Lockdown Caps or Rekkles. And hope to make up that gold deficit with an early kill.
No, it is pretty tough when the first gank from Fnatic gives them a kill up top lane, so that sOAZ is now winning the lane basically on his own, and therefore Xerxe had to wait for level 6 and then had no lane to really gank other than bot lane, and he did go down there to secure the turret for his duo.
I want to talk about the bottom lane duo of Splyce. I was trying to get to it before that action. And Kasing's the guy I want to take a look in. Of course, played EUCS last year with Team RB, failed to qualify for the EU LCS. The Kasing effect was something that was credited with his ability to turn around team performances. And look at this engage here in the mid lane. Caps going to jump down into Nisqy. Not enough yet to find the kill, but those Sand Soldiers are whacking away. And Kasing, of course, is going to need to pull out some of those magical performances because he has been around a very long time. Played at Worlds, debuted at Super Hot Crew 2014.
And he's an old school player,
Yes.
so if you're a newer viewer here, you might not know much about him, but as you said, the Kasing effect was kind of the big moment for him when he joined that H2K lineup in 2015 spring. They started suddenly going on a massive winning streak. That's when they went to Worlds that year, and he played extremely well. He was also on the Vitality lineup in spring 2016 that got 3rd place and was one of the most hyped rosters we had that year. So there's a lot of, you know, respect in the pro scene towards Kasing because he has done really well in the past, especially individually, being a big playmaker. We need to see if he's still able to do that. In this game, he's playing Taric, so we're not expecting the big flashy plays from him, but maybe later on.
And it's difficult when the game has sort of fallen apart everywhere else on the map, right?
Yeah.
You know, top was really struggling. Odo's been bullied. He's down 30 CS. He's given up solo kills to sOAZ. Nisqy has really been beaten up in that mid lane. I mean, he's down 50 CS.
Lost that turret long time ago as well.
20 minutes is fast approaching. And look, Fnatic were always going to be the favorites this game. You know, they had a lot in their favor, a lot of things that pointed towards them theoretically having an advantage, and it feels like they're using it, but I didn't quite expect the 1v1 dominance that I've seen this game.
Sure, I mean, especially top lane, that was a little bit surprising, but it was also due to Broxah's gank here. Caps taking down mid lane, I think was called by Vedius as well, that he really saw a big advantage here for Fnatic. In the end though for Splyce, again, it's a long season.
Yep.
So it's a long-term project from their side, and we just have to see how they now defend when we move towards the Baron. So that's going to be what I want Fnatic will play around later on in the game. We need to see how Splyce is team fighting and just kind of judge them during this game.
Let's see what happens next. Defensive play. It's going to be what needs to happen. Rekkles and Hilly, they're going to push away any Splyce members thinking about defending. sOAZ and Rekkles will secure the 3rd and final outer turret. 5,000 gold is the lead. Broxah's going to look to move forward. Gets stunned up. Gets a decent flag and drag to safety. And now we've got a split map. Teleport to the mid lane by sOAZ.
And Hylissang is on the way. Rekkles as well. We might get a big fight here.
All of the Forge Guard was used in the bottom lane, so there's no gigantic engage. Flash is still available for Xerxe. Cataclysm not yet fired by Broxah.
I'm a simple man. I call that a big fight.
As it was building up, the tension was there, the possibility was there, but nobody was able to find just the right pixel to engage.
Splyce not in a position to start fighting. No cleanse.
Alright, that's a lot of damage coming down. The quickness is available for Hylissang if he needs it, but look, Splyce,
they're teasing us.
They know they don't really want the big 5v5. Odo was all the way down, and if Fnatic to turn, the damage is very high.
But I also think Xerxe there was trying to get caps because that cleanse was still on cooldown for 10-15 seconds. Could have been a quick kill, maybe even more, and Splyce suddenly could get back in the game. Hylissang though, grabbed that ulti, and they don't really want to invest everything on the Rakan, so nothing happened for Splyce. It is a tough situation to sit in. You've lost your outer turrets. The enemy Azir is on 2 items already. There's a Xayah Rakan that can force plays on you 24/7. You need to now almost play perfect defense with your defensive vision, not getting caught out. Otherwise, Fnatic gets an early Baron.
Exactly. They've already got the ability to bully Splyce away. Fnatic,
they're doing it right now.
Yeah, the vision is great. Pushing all the way into Splyce's jungle. Setting themselves up for that next play. Take a look down the itemization. 2 item power spikes for the majority of the Fnatic squad. Splyce, they're just being pulled apart. There's too many things to defend. Too many avenues, and unfortunately for them, they've now lost their 4th tower, the inner mid.
Certainly means Azir can move even further forward with his own passive. He wants to build another turret later on to just keep that minion wave pushed in. At the moment, Infernal Drake should be the next objective for Fnatic, and then they can start looking back towards this Baron here. And they have good damage on it with Azir and Xayah. They have multiple tanks that can stand right in front of it.
It's a really good team composition from the Fnatic squad. It just feels like they can do so many things as the Infernal Drake is spawning. See down in your picture-in-picture, and Splyce, like we said, they need flawless defense. As long as they've got inhibitor turrets to fall back to, there is some hope. Right. It's falling further and further away.
And we need to see if they can find a pick with all the CC they have. Ryze, instant click ult. Follow up with Xerxe's ult here with Sejuani, his own stun coming after, like Taric. There's a lot of CC on Splyce's side, but they have to find that one member who's out of position to use it, because taking a full-on team fight at the moment is difficult. against this Fnatic lineup.
Yep.
No one on Fnatic's side, though, is overextended.
Nisqy's going to solo take this top tower. No pressure, of course, because the dragon was taken shortly, fairly shortly ago. And that means that'll be the second of the game for Splyce. A little bit of extra gold to claw back, and we need to see now how Fnatic look to extend their advantage. The vision is timed out already in that top quadrant.
Fnatic also just waiting for caps. He's sitting on like 2,600 gold.
Void Staff?
I mean, yeah, if he wants it, that will be a fine buy for him.
Is that the win more button now?
I like it.
Void Staff picked up.
There's a bunch of tanks on the other side, even though there's not insane amounts of MR being stacked on the 2 tanks just yet. It will be there very shortly, and there's Abyssal Mask on Nisqy's side, so great pickup from Caps. Big advantage, as we keep talking about 300 CS in 24 minutes to only 242 on the side of Nisqy.
Gonna have to check with the stats team how close to Perks' farming record that was. Perks just missed the all-time EU LCS farm record at 30 minutes by 10. And we'll see whether or not Caps can get close to that one. Broxah gets tagged by that satchel. Kobbe doesn't follow forward. You know how I love my useless stats, Deficio. So I'm going to keep a close eye. 319 at 24.5. You tell a story while I check with the stats team.
A story? A lot of pressure on me all of a sudden. Xerxe, Trevor, if you're still here, looking for a potential fight. We're kind of still waiting for the exact same thing. Fnatic are taking control of topside jungle. They want to force a play around the Baron where they can catch someone with Hylissang or just secure the Baron, while Splyce are just trying to defend for as long as possible. Huge issue when you have Ryze and you don't win early on because you want to really use his advantage over the Azir. He does get outscaled towards the late game. So Nisqy, tough first game and not really been able to have much of an impact.
I agree. Very tough game, especially when Caps is poised to break the record. Deficio, at 30 minutes, Perks got 368 CS earlier with Ryze. The record was set by Xpeke at 378.
Oh, okay.
Now, while I'm talking about CS, Hylissang is the target. That's the first kill for Splyce. Rekkles will get shut down. An aggressive move. Peter and Splyce will be happy with that one.
That was a great play from Splyce here. They finally found someone from Fnatic that was overextending. The rest of Fnatic was not even close. And then Rekkles and Hylissang near that enemy tier 2 tower. Ulti from Nisqy into an engage from Xerxe. Good setup there. Near the Baron.
How risky is this, Deficio? There is still a teleport for sOAZ, Call of the Forge God, and Azir available.
Yeah, level 16 Azir is so strong at this point here. I think it's too risky. He's going to get too much damage on you while you're near that Baron here. But great play. Fnatic, with a mistake that got punished. Rekkles and Hylissang overextending in that top side.
Oh, and even more importantly, Caps is not farming minions. 26 minutes, 24 seconds. He's at 343. Will he beat today's record or the all-time record?
Kobbe is stealing away the Raptor camp as well. No extra minions there for him. So look at this here. If you look at the minimap, sOAZ down bot lane at the moment. Azir sitting in mid lane. So there's not really any way for Fnatic to get in here fast enough and defend this bot lane. And Hylissang and Rekkles simply just played too aggressive without backup. They needed Caps to push mid first and move to the top lane before they could get close to that tower. Otherwise, this could happen.
That's another decisive call by Splyce. That realm warp.
That's what we want to see. This is a completely new team. A call like that is not easy to make when you're under this much pressure. It's a good defense so far from Splyce.
And of course, we're approaching 30 minutes. And 3,000 gold at 30 minutes is nearly insignificant. There is scaling on the side of Splyce. They've got Ryze, they've got Tristana, they've got Sejuani. Let's see whether or not they can find more of those picks, you know. Fnatic, they let themselves get blindsided, and they were punished very heavily for it.
And we might see one of the problems for Fnatic here, and a problem they probably didn't solve with their roster change, which is in terms of, okay, the correct way to close out a game and especially play around vision. At the moment, it is Splyce with a ton of defensive wards in the jungle. Fnatic who constantly have to walk in and try and kill them, then walk out, walk in again. If you make one mistake like the one we saw before, the entire map resets. You have to go back and buy all the wards again, replace them. And Splyce are finding ways to force Fnatic out every single time. And Fnatic are only sitting with 2 members who can buy control wards, so they're never getting enough vision denial to make sure the Splyce can't see anything.
Well, very, very good Feather Storm by Rekkles. He gets out safely. Fnatic continue to set up their vision. Where is Caps? This minion wave, if he gets it all, will beat Perkz' record. 28 minutes, 20 seconds. 365. Xerxe wants to interrupt him. Don't take the CS, Rekkles. 368. Caps has tied Perkz' CS
big
record.
engage!
The Cataclysm into the knockup. Can the kills for Caps break the CS record? Continues to chase forward. Call of the Forge God knocks Odoamne up into the air. Caps is looking for Nisqy. He slides and glides forward. Forced to flash away. Odo turns it back around. The Emperor's Divide is not going to be enough to save Caps' life. Splyce feel they can turn this around. Nisqy's looking for the re-engage. He's got the Realm Warp available.
He's too low. He's too low.
But there's no further follow-up.
That was such a good engage though from Fnatic to start that fight here. They finally forced Splyce out of the jungle, then found them in the mid lane. No flash on Kasing. He was the first target. In the end though, it was just a 2-for-1 trade. Mid lane turret is still alive. And Fnatic have not gotten that Baron that they're so desperately looking at.
Splyce held again. The defense that was not allowed to make big mistakes, despite getting caught out, managed to get away with this.
But again, this setup is great. Broxah with the flash engage, follow up from Hylissang, after again Splyce was stuck in the mid lane. Gone from their own jungle. Fnatic had the control for a moment, but they didn't get a big objective. Let's see if they can get another fight like this one. Caps went all in for Nisqy. Didn't get him and ended up dying for it.
Oh, and you know the biggest sacrifice, the biggest victim of that decision and that team fight, Deficio?
The CS.
The CS record at 30 minutes stands. X-Paco himself maintains it. However, all kudos to Caps here at 30 minutes. I think he dinged 372, 371, 372. I get confirmation from the stats team later. He at least is better than Perkz today.
That's the important one.
That's the important thing. Put that on Twitter. Put my name on it.
Look at Broxah once again here.
Better than Perkz today. Broxah's looking for the opportunity. Okay, flashes. 1, 2, 3 of them are down for Fnatic. So that's a little difficult. And Nisqy, though, is a potential target.
And a very big thing here. Nisqy did not go Hourglass, so he can't Hourglass an ult out if he gets engaged on. No flash for him. He's a very easy target for them. But that's a Baron who just disappeared.
We were so focused on the mid lane engage, I thought Hylissang was wasting the quickness. Instead,
he was baiting.
It was a bait. It was the best zoning quickness ever because sOAZ and Caps just soloed Baron.
Power of Azir right there. Destroying it in fight.
All right, let's take a look. Glacial Prism, that's great. Rekkles is already down. He was caught with his flash available. Now Fnatic are running for their lives. Xerxe's looking for the tag onto Hilly. Good damage on defense from Caps. Trying to kite and fight and survive. Odo flashes forward, rather hops. There's the Mega Gnar about to pop. The coaching staff in the background are happy. Splyce, they're turning this around.
Yeah, this game is so back and forth at the moment. Fnatic just took a Baron with 2 members, walked straight up mid lane, and then Splyce were like, okay, we still want to fight you. We don't care about that Baron buff. And they land the engage onto Rekkles. Xayah with ulti and flash got CC'd and died instantly.
Splyce got enough to turn this game around. The all-new roster with 1 player returning is still down 3,000 gold, but they're bringing the fight to Fnatic and punishing the small mistakes.
You should only get an engage like this one once in a game against the Xayah. Rekkles does not see the ulti in time, so he gets CC'd. He was in the front line, and he just dies. And now, of course, Splyce can win the fight. 4v5 here. Chase them down, get at least 1 more kill, remove another Baron buff. That was a great engage from Xerxe. No vision on that side. Again, I don't think you get that engage another time.
We talked about it 10 minutes ago. If Xerxe can insta-gib a Caps or a Rekkles, find that opportunity. But it's 32 minutes in. The goal difference, again, not super meaningful right now. Without finding that magical pick, is there enough team fight power in the Splyce tank to win?
It is difficult because Caps is so strong in this game. If they cannot get to one of the 2 carries instantly, I fear that there will be too much damage on the side of Fnatic that will eventually just take down a tank on the side of Splyce. That being said, Kobbe is on 4 items now with Tristana. sOAZ and Broxah will be the 2 guys he's hitting the most.
Yeah.
sOAZ right now taking a lot of damage.
Is indeed locked up by the Glacial Vision, and Splyce, they're able to get another kill. Fnatic is just getting messy. This is getting loose, and And they're getting caught out. Splyce keep finding those kills.
Yeah, it took a while for Fnatic to secure the Baron, but they did manage to get it, which was a good play. Right after, we've had 2 plays in a row where Splyce catch Fnatic with their pants down.
Is this the first upset of the 2018 season here in EU LCS? Fan favorites Fnatic returning with the least number of changes. We're going to see whether or not they can bounce back, because they still have the ability to win this game. They've just got to clean up the play.
sOAZ just walked in, applied some damage to Odoamne, who got Mega Knight, just knocked him back, and sOAZ's been tanking the turret non-stop. Basically a free kill for Splyce here. Fnatic's Baron buff, not been doing much for them. They're now hiding in this brush here. Old school EU classic. Ooh. Blast Cone over. Can they get here in time to stop the recalls?
No ulti available for Xerxe, so he doesn't have the long-range engage. And that means Fnatic are able to escape. Okay, Deficio, 35 minutes is coming up. Baron will be up in a couple minutes, and Elder Dragon will be up soon. It is a potential 4-Dragon Elder
and
for Fnatic.
I'm not going to predict anything, because I feel like what's happened in this game is random things just suddenly meant that Fnatic lost fights where they shouldn't. And Splyce kept finding ways to stay in this game. The Xerxe engage was great onto Rekkles. That was just a great play from his side.
Yep.
On an AD carry that's overextended, that's a kill. The one with sOAZ up in the top lane, that was just very, very poor decision from sOAZ that instantly got punished by Splyce again. So at this point, I feel like it's anyone's game, even though I really like this really fed Azir on Fnatic's side.
Yeah, you need to enable the Azir. You need to play around it. Baron power play of minus 255 gold. Fnatic, they've got the inside track on the top half of the map. Splyce forced to use Realm Warp defensively, and Odoamne was not with the team. Now, there's no minions for Fnatic to play with, but sOAZ should be able to take that top inner turret. That's the 5th of the game. And when you consider they got 4 towers by, what, 17, 18 minutes? It's a long time to knock over that next inner turret.
And that's why we're just kind of waiting for either the big 5-on-5 team fight or another member that gets caught out. Let's see what happens here.
All right, Broxah's the member that's caught, but he's not out yet.
He's the guy who wants to catch it.
Here we go, noms it with that Warmog's arm. And, you know, Deficio, you look at the Splyce roster. These are 5 players with names, with histories, with legacies in the scene. They were thrown together. Now they need to develop as a team. Right? 5 individuals, they've come together. And let's see if one of the individuals makes a magic play. If one of these guys steps up and gets a great Gnar into a wall, or glacial prison, or a good stun from Kasing, or ultimate, that's how Splyce can turn this whole game on its head. But that's if they don't get caught out.
Yeah, Nisqy's topside at the moment. He's running down from base. sOAZ with TP ready. Fnatic getting that last outer turret down. The game has really slowed down a lot. It's just Fnatic trying to now play very safe, stay together as a team, only take the easy objectives like these outer turrets here.
Yep.
Elder Drake is up very soon, so is Baron. Again, that's where this game will be decided.
Okay, so 1 minute to Elder Drake. Sorry, 1 minute to Baron. Elder Drake's going to be probably another 2 or so minutes. I think that last Ocean was secured around 34. So let's see if Fnatic can get all of the buffs, some defensive vision, very shallow, set up by Xerxe.
And in these fights here, we're really looking at Odoamne and Xerxe together. Xerxe lands the first engage, Odoamne with the follow-up with that Mega Gnar. And then after, Kobbe's positioning on Tristana. 4 items, QSS is ready. We've seen him already, managed to actually land a lot of damage, and Kasing might get caught.
Forced to flash. That's a flash from Kobbe as well. That's going to prove pivotal in the coming Baron fights. Of course, this is the last game of day 1 here in the EU LCS, and let's see whether or not Fnatic can start their campaign with a win.
And still no hourglass or stopwatch here for Nisqy on his side to escape with that ulti in case it is a bad fight for Splyce.
No margin for error. 3 seconds to Baron. Fnatic have got control. They've got some deep vision as well.
And Splyce can't really see anything near the river except for one ward in the Baron pit. Sitting right there, laughing at Fnatic, making sure that Splyce knows this Baron is not started yet. Now they find a little bit of room to move forward and get some vision down.
sOAZ down in the bottom lane, trying to push that wave as much as possible, but we're getting into this late game. And of course, no flash Kobbe, no flash Kasing. Keep your eyes on them. for any potential CC.
And remember, Fnatic can two-man this Baron like we saw before with Caps. Xerxe looking for another engage, hoping to force a cleanse, but didn't happen.
No, not this time round. There wasn't enough distance. The Forge Guard is called and knocks Kasing up into the air. And Xerxe, a follow-up knock-up from Hilly. That's the breakout kill for Fnatic. Cataclysm comes down into Xerxe. He gets chunked, killed, dunked by Rekkles. The flash over the wall. sOAZ continues to chase forward. Odo's running for his life and Nisqy's trying to pull aggro.
Fnatic forced that flash away from Kasing earlier, and then they saw him out on the map and said, go for this guy. sOAZ ulti, engaged from Broxah, was enough to catch him, and they kill him.
Do Fnatic take 2 inhibs, then Baron, or go for the win? Let's find out. Inhib in the middle lane will get taken down by Rekkles. The tower in the bottom is now secured, as of course Youngbuck, the team director, I believe is the title, swapped over to Fnatic this year. And Fnatic, 2 inhibitors broken open, the map completely their control.
Splyce right now are pinging towards the Baron. Ulti coming in from Nisqy to get into the Baron pit. There is TP from Odoamne as well, but there's a ward from Fnatic, so they know this is happening. Broxah is already there.
Smite is available for Broxah.
Oh, Nisqy's getting caught now.
Are already running away. Teleport completed by sOAZ, and Nisqy's first death of the game comes at 40 minutes. The Forge God is called, and he will not escape Fnatic or Broxah's waiting hands.
Splyce hoping that all of Fnatic had recalled, then tried to rush down the Baron. Sadly for them, TP was available and Broxah was still out on the map. Stuff Splyce. They all go down, and now they've lost 2 inhibs, lost their mid laner, and Fnatic just got the Baron.
Whew, it was a little hairy in the mid game for Fnatic.
It took a while. There was some back and forth right there where Splyce actually defended pretty well.
But if you look at the highlight reel of the early game and the late game, it would look fantastic for Fnatic with Baron empowered minions. The top and final inhibitor will fall. This is League of Legends by the numbers. And the last 2 objectives stand before the Nexus. It is those turrets, and they've just got to conga line those minions into the lane. One last ultimate by sOAZ. That's going to knock up Xerxe into the air, and it is inevitable. Knock-up lands, follow-up by the flag and drag. The towers fall, and Fnatic are padding those stats. They've got themselves a kill. Redemptions come down, it will not matter. And Fnatic are looking to kill them in the fountain before they take down Splyce to go 1-0.
Gotta ruin them fantasy points right there. Nisqy died a second time, but Fnatic, strong start to this game, especially Caps in the mid lane and sOAZ up in that top lane. Great performance from the solo laners, and looked a lot like that team that dominated in the regular season.
Yes.
With all the good things about Fnatic. But then also towards the late game, we got to see some issues closing out the game as Splyce found some good openings. And it was starting to look like a game where Splyce could actually come back.
A little bit of individual mistakes in the mid-game, maybe some communication mistakes on the side of Fnatic.
Yeah, a mix, you know, also in terms of how to set up that Baron early on, or
yes,
where could the enemy engage from. We had some moments where Rekkles was overextended, both top lane and mid lane. Got punished, but it's early on in the split. Fnatic will be able to go back, look at all these issues, work on them for the next few weeks. They still kept this core together, and we got to see why in the early game, because they were dominating.
They really were. Great performance from sOAZ in the laning phase. Caps, great teenage year for him.
There he goes.
Showed up and just completely pulled apart Nisqy. Now, let's turn our attention to the Splyce squad, because when those opportunities were presented, Splyce were very quick to punish them. The tower in the bottom lane as a cross map for the top lane play. The team fight, the kills into team fight pressure. Xerxe finding that pick, you know, there was these real glimmers.
And that's a really good sign, because it shows that at least in terms of communication, most of it was on point. When they found that member that was overextended, they also clearly trusted in the calls, because everyone followed instantly.
Yeah.
Nisqy TPs or Xerxe's engages. So there were some good things, but they were simply outclassed in the early game, which is a problem.
Yeah, it was. Of course, Xerxe's Sejuani not the strongest early game champion, as well as Odo just losing that 1v1. A lot to think about, and
He lost the 1v2 at first.
Touche.
Let's be fair.
Look, the gank and then the follow-up. But he got bullied a lot for the preceding minutes, which was a difficult time for Splyce.
And that's why both teams are actually going to be really fun to follow the next few weeks. Like, how much can Splyce improve as a team? Was this just, you know, one single game where it fell apart in the mid lane and that will never happen again, and suddenly it's a completely different early game we see next time? Those are some of the questions we really want answered.
Well, Deficio, you'll be able to find them out tomorrow because it's a new year, it's a new format.
They play tomorrow.
Teams play twice. Of course, before we talk about that and before we start setting up for the interview and the post-game lobby, stick around for that. Just a few minutes, we will get the player of the game in the EULCS, a post-game lobby. Remember, you're in charge of voting, so what that means, it stands between Caps, Broxah, and sOAZ. Go check out twitter.com/LOL eSports, and you have to click on the vote. Don't tweet at us, don't use the hashtag, you have to actually go click on the vote. It's the only way
Make it very simple.
It is, it is. You have to type, you don't even have to type. Keyboard's not
Just
useful.
click.
Just click, that's all you gotta do. Bring it back again to, of course, best of ones. It creates some amazing moments because now we get to see the teams again tomorrow, but then we get to make amazing statements like the year of Nukeduck. And today, Cap set the farm record and was better than Perks. And these are things that cannot change until tomorrow.
The best and the worst thing about BO1 is making big statements after one game.
Oh, I love it. I love it. It's so entertaining.
It is so scary because, again...
Scary?
It's just, you watch this one game and you just want to be like, yeah, wow, Cap's destroyed. You know, he's going to be so fantastic in the mid lane based on this one game. But we obviously got to see a bit more.
It's interesting because, of course, there's 18 regular season games per team. Each team plays their opponents twice, double round robin, which actually means that at the end of the regular season, Fnatic will play less games than they did at the World Championship. They played 19 games from play-ins to that miracle run from 0-4 to quarterfinals, which I find just amazing to digest.
That was a roller coaster.
It was a roller coaster. Fnatic's a roller coaster. We'll talk a little bit more about that later. For now, though, Fnatic, they did get the win. They close out the day. Let's check in with Pyra, who's sitting ready with Rekkles.